Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We're about a minute and a half into the afternoon session. So we just had at 101, just had an announcement of the 30-year bond price or the auction price. So let's take a peek and see where we are. We'll give everyone just a couple more minutes to arrive. All right, still showing pending. So we'll come back in a few minutes. Oh, wow, look at that. Let's get down to 1 minute so we can see. So the bond price said it started at 101. We can see that from our earlier session, the setups that we had just before lunch, none of them worked out. They all delivered like a 1-to-1 and then started trading back down through the stop loss zone and ultimately stopping everyone out. So all of these setups failed. None delivered. Even this one. All right, but if you take a peek and see where we got the price to lift off from, it's a frequent area that we talk about a lot. Let's get up to the 15-minute and it'd be easier to see. Yep, right here, the midnight open. Came down, touched the midnight open, and then lift off. So yeah, keep that level on your charts. The midnight open, a lot of times it'll trade back to it throughout the day, and it'll either be support or resistance. So one of the two, it'll provide for. So always pay attention to where the midnight open price is. Oh, Khaled, good job, way to go. Always protect yourself. All right, Fauci, welcome back. I'll miss you by a tick. Oh man, sorry about that. That's awful. So my guess is you had an entry right at the midnight open at 101, or it missed you on this candle, which the low is 849 a quarter, and you had an entry at 849. Let's get down to the 5 minute and watch it from there. Okay, on the 5 minute, we can see we were inside of a fair value gap where we saw the wicks go through, but all the candle bodies stayed inside. Yeah, that's a good question, Khaled. Are we going to break down? Or is this a fake out? All right, so the 5 minute 5 minute chart it remained bullish the entire time. It never flipped over. So we just have to, I mean, if we're looking to see if we're going to make new highs or not, we just have to be aware that there could be consolidation where we just trade in a range. Meaning you don't want to go long up here and you don't want to go short down here. All right, D. Anderson, I hear you. I definitely hear you. Okay. Great. Here we go on to 1 minute. I see what you're saying. So he was saying continue to trade as if you only had, a balance of $1,000 or $2,000, as opposed to once you get up to 10 grand, you start trading differently because you feel like you have more leverage or because you have, your balance is larger. So you end up over leveraging yourself and you can blow your account quickly that way. Yeah. So I guess that mode of thinking goes against the percentage way of trading where they say trade a percentage of your account balance, whether it's 0.5% or 0.3% or 1% of your balance. Yeah. Yeah. I think what really gets people in trouble is that they don't realize that once you've taken a couple losses, that you should then reduce how much risk you put on a trade. Right? They always think that the next trade that the loss they just took was an outlier, and the next trade is going to be a winner. So they try to get it all back in one or two trades, and then you end up finding yourself in a deeper hole. Okay. 90% of traders, yep, they do say that 90% fail for sure. So your job is to do trading the same way you do everything else in your life. Try to get into the top 10% of the people doing it. No, they're all kind of doing the same thing. So let me go over and show you the other indices. There's a question about how the other indices are performing. So let's go ahead and show that. All right, so this is the hourly. So we do have a bullish candle on all three indices. We have a very similar opposite candle on the dollar. So those are the types of things that we want to see when we see price action for indices that should move together. All right, so I'll leave that there for a second. So if you familiarize yourself with how things are performing, we did have the SMT this morning, where wow, this is even lower. But we've had a build up since then. The last two candles for the lunch hour as well as this hour so far. Let's look at NQ and see where it landed. 50%. Actually, it's here. 851. See how far we traced down. This low was 851, so it went down to 50% on the 1 hour for Nasdaq. Right now, it looks like they're all retracing a bit, including the dollar. So I'm gonna go and get back over to the NQ chart. All right, looks like this breaker may not hold. In fact, based on the 15-minute, it is likely not to hold. Yeah, but it would actually surprise me if we go bullish here. Yeah, so we found support at the midnight open, but we met resistance at the previous day high. Hmm. Put it back on the 5-minute. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the high and low so we can see which the range that we're currently inside of. For the day, call it. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the 1 hour. No worries. Yeah, right now, especially right now, TJ is don't overdo it. Don't even attempt anything until it cleans its act up and starts to show us something different. But right now, It's no different than what we experienced yesterday. Yep. So it might be worth just relaxing for a bit. Let's see what 2 o'clock brings. I mean, 1:30 could bring something different as well. But I'm betting on 2 o'clock. No, I didn't realize that, Fauci. Where was it? Yep. Oh, Greenland. Oh, okay. Yep. So on the 1 minute, I had this breaker here drawn up, a bullish breaker. Jay, is that the same one you were mentioning on the 1 minute chart? It's at 12:50, two candles. Yep. 12:50, 12:51. Absolutely. So right now it looks like price is bouncing between the two. All right, we're about 20 minutes into the session, so we're still waiting for price to settle and see whether it's going to be bullish or bearish. It's shown the willingness to move in both directions. We're For the most part, we're very near to where we started 20 minutes ago, even though there was news and you expect there to be volatility, which generally will send price moving away from wherever it started. But we got a big bullish push up at basically the opening of the session. And then we've been pretty much retracing back down to that value, to that price in the last 15 minutes. We're not quite there. We hit a bullish breaker block. So we could see bullish prices sending us back up to all-time highs or the daily high, really. But again, for now, we're just going to wait and see how things develop. We still have the US dollar being bearish. And so far, the three indices are all three bullish at the moment, even though just slightly bullish. Let's see. Yeah, opening value for us on Nasdaq was 856. So we're at 870 now, about 15 points up. I think my audio's working. Maybe I was just being silent. But so you get excited when the market flies around like a fly, and when you catch the fly. Yeah, you're hoping that it will lead to an expansion. You're right. This is a higher time frame consolidation, which is generally a precursor to expansion. So we have 1:30 coming up in about 5 minutes. That could be the spark that everyone was looking for, or it could hold off and just play around until 2 o'clock. It looks like the previous day high is roughly half, roughly 50% of the range we're looking at between the high and the low. Let's go here and here. Close. Yeah, not too far off. It's right in the middle of 38 and 50. Yep. Yeah, I think when you said that, Gavin, I looked down here to the lower left corner and I was like, oh, yeah, I was looking at this consolidation. I said, yes, could push us out. So I was looking at the 15 as well. My target was 3K, but I went over that. Your TS account, so Topstep account, okay? My target was 3K, but I went over, so I have to make another 2,500 more. Okay, let me see. So tell me, how much did you make on the first day? Because you can't make more than 50% on one day. No, I mean, you can make as much. I mean, you should stop at 3,000 once you pass. But as long as you made like 5K, did you do all of that in one day? No, TJ, not in the evaluation. The thing is, they don't have the 1 day evaluation, so they want it to be a minimum of 2 days. And in doing so, they say no more than 50% on any one day. Just, I guess they don't want people to go in, throw in all their contracts on, hit the 3K in one trade, and then get funded. Yep. But then once you get funded, you can make as much as you want. It doesn't matter. It's just during the challenge. They want you to at least spend 2 days completing your challenge. Yeah. Yeah. If you made more than 1,500 in one day, you should go ahead and it might be hard, but you go ahead and get a losing trade and get you back down to 1,500, close out your day. And then you have to wait for the following day when the charts open back up at 1,800, and then you can resume. All right. So it looks like we've traded from the lower breaker block to the upper breaker block now. We bounced here, came back, traded to it. Now let's see if we trade through the upper one. Yeah, I figured that's why I said it's probably hard because you think you okay, let me just I think it's going to be a bullish candle, so let me just go in and go with a sell. Then all of a sudden you see it sell off and you're like, fuck, it's not what I wanted. Mm. Yeah, the Dow is still looking weak, while Nasdaq is the strength of the three. Call it if you believe it's getting ready to pop down, then you're at the top of the range. So yeah, short wouldn't be a terrible idea. It just depends on if you think it's gonna take liquidity first. But if you don't think it's gonna pull that 896, but you think it's gonna short from here, then you're in a good position to short. uh, that's funny. I think I might have to use that too. Uh, Heisman, I'm giving him the stiff arm. 2 minutes bullish. Yeah, there's 5 minutes looking bullish too. Let's see. In another 45 seconds, we'll have a closure of candle here on the 5 minute, and we'll see where we are. uh, it does. It does, Fauci. You're absolutely right. Yeah, but unfortunately, we are. We're absolutely consolidating. Just going down through the different charts to see if there's anything worth paying attention to. All right, so on the 5 minute, we did get a closure back to the 50% of the breaker, the bearish breaker at that. Oh, Fauci's from Toronto. Okay. I'm with you on that one, Gavin. That would be sweet. That'll get me back to break even for the week. Earths in Islam. I do not know when it's going to drop. I don't. We have 2 o'clock hour coming up in the next 25 minutes. So that could be a moment for price to turn around and start going the opposite direction. But so far, now that it's 1:30 and we haven't seen any change in price, it's either likely to continue to consolidate or it's likely to expand any moment now. In fact, just give me one moment. I need to grab a glass of water. I'm struggling here. Okay. All right, there we go. So the last 5 minute candle closed just below 50%. Now we got a big push out of it above the range. We still got another minute to see if it closes above that breaker there, but for now it looks looking good. See how this last candle closes. Let's see what it does. All right, looks like it's going to close above. Right, it did. So that was the end of that 5 minute candle. Oh man, I didn't even realize this is what I marked up. I was just marking up the range and saying we're in the middle of the range and let's see which side we break first. Oh, okay, you got a short order just above the all-time high. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't think I had an appreciation for lunchtime. It made a new all-time high at 12:30. I remember this one here making the all-time high. After we put in the all-time high just before 11 o'clock, I remember after 11 it swept it again and then traded back down. I don't think I even had an appreciation for this. So yeah, so all-time high now is at 896 and a half. This one here, okay. Bullish candle to the right of the lunch low to get swept. Okay. So if you sweep down here, so you're saying come back to this purple dash line, which is the midnight open. Yeah, TJ, you're right about that, man. Y'all, I can't tell you how many athletes have come from big hotspot is right near Charlotte, Fort Mill, Rock Hill. Tons of athletes coming from there. But I guess we can never forget about Zion Williamson, John Morant. Yeah, Debo as well. Yep, can't forget about him. Yeah, definitely. Their water is different than other states. I'll tell you. Yep, DV. We're looking to see if it's going to be bullish, because it's been looking like it's going to be bullish, but it just won't break out. And so when that happens, you always wonder if it's a fake out or if it's going to do just a liquidity sweep and then go and fast track the other direction. So we're just looking to see what's going to happen here. Most people in the room are not in positions now. None of us are really enticed by what we see. So we're still waiting. I think there was some during lunch. We may have caught this short here. And we also had some really early in the session who caught this long up in this region. But since then, most people have been sitting back, just wanting to see what price is going to do. And so what I did is I marked up the lunch high and the lunch low, and this entire session has just been in between, but not tipping his hand either way. But this macro, I think in the next, starting at 150, 150 to 210, I think that macro is going to give us some information. Yep. So now retest of that previous day high seems to be in fact, that seems to be the split between the range that it's trading in now, the previous day high. Let me get rid of this. We know we're right at 50% here. Just below previous day high is the 50% mark. But yeah, that seems to be where price is trading to, and it doesn't really want to leave that level. So we've traded above it, made an all-time high today twice. Well, yep, once, and then second time during lunch. And so now we're just waiting to see if that's going to be a prolonged bullish movement or if it's just going to be short-lived, and then we're going to seek lower prices. Okay, while we get ready for the macro, let's go ahead and take a peek at where the dollar and the other indices are doing just before the close of this hour. We can see the dollar is rejecting this fair value gap area. Still has another 10 minutes where it could trade back down and close below. But as of right now, it looks like it's rejecting it and going to move into this fair value gap. We had the same on the Dow. It pushed all the way through, and right now we have a slight rejection. So it hasn't pushed through and, pushed all the way through, like towards some of these previous highs. So that's one to continue to watch. Again, the S&P has just been ranging all day. It hasn't wanted to break out. Yep. So with Nasdaq, we had a trade into fair value gap down here, and this is why we're bullish, because it had a strong push out to new all-time highs. It didn't leave a fair value gap behind. Well, actually, it did here. It created one just before lunch. So we just saw price trade back down. We see it create a bottom, at least for 2 consecutive hours. We see it put in a low. It's very similar, and we see it push out of that range. So we're just hoping that it continues. And if it doesn't, I mean, it's fine, but we just needed to make a decision. But until then, we sit on our hands. So I'm going to go back over to NQ. We'll just watch this for the final 10 minutes of this hour. I'm going to drop to the 1 minute. That so we can see the wick back into the bullish breaker. uh, well, unlike your wife, you can't help here. You just got to let it do what it does. I do. 1-to-1 trade. All right, Holly. Good job. Way to go. Did you take one of these shorts? Or did you take, or are you saying you took a long out of this breaker up to around these equal highs? Yep, it is definitely weird right now. We got another 7 minutes before 2 o'clock, and then we'll look for a silver bullet or something in the next hour. Okay. So you had a short long and then a short short. Oh, from the equal highs? Okay. That was a quick 10, 12 points, something like that. Maybe a few more. Okay, further breakdown in price, it looks like. There's a small fair value gap just below the breaker here on the 1 minute. Right, shorts look like 870 is a key level for shorts. Watch out for 870. Okay. 61%, 83, 88. Okay. Okay, 2 more minutes and we'll be at 2 o'clock. We'll look at how price is performing when we get there. Just a couple more minutes. Like going into 2 o'clock, it's going to be indecisive. So we're still not going to know exactly where it wants to go. One thing we've had is we've had a small break of structure here, and then followed by a trade down, small break of structure there, and now trade back up. And yep, so we'll give it a, all right, there it is. So now we can see that it chose a side. It shows a direction. So now we'll wait and see if that does anything for us on a higher time frame. So far, it's just on the 1 minute. Yep, you're right. You're right. It's still on the in the bull flag on the 15-minute chart. Sorry about that, Jay. Yeah, I know most people have it the opposite direction. Might switch my color scheme up soon. I'll try something different. Thanks for that, Gavin. Thank you. Yeah, I'll see. It depends. If I try something and it doesn't look good to me, or I can't, I don't feel good about it, then yeah, I won't do it. 95 billion. Yeah, plus, man, I assume that most people are looking at their own charts anyway. They look at what I'm looking at sometimes, but then I think you guys flip back to your own charts because really that's the only way you can trade. Yep. Yeah, you're right, TJ. I do. For now, yeah, for sure. I'm not changing anything for now, but I'll give it a try because I've only had it like this for maybe 5 months, maybe. Before that, it was black and red. Before that, it was feel like it was blue and like a medium gray. Black bullish candles. All right, Vivian. Well, there we have it. Some people like it, some people don't. All right, Fauci. Yeah, I figured you guys did appreciate me being a live stream every day. And I mean, I like live streaming, so this is actually pretty good. It's fun. I mean, when Price isn't doing anything, I'm at a loss for words. But other than that, it's enjoyable. And occasionally, I miss a setup just because I'm talking or doing something else. But for the most part, live streaming has been extremely rewarding. All right, TJ, catch you in the morning. Thanks for joining again. Man, this rain is coming down. Not often that you can hear the rain here in Phoenix. Lunch low and then to the moon. Okay. Oh, that'll be nice. So we got the lunch low coupled with the midnight open. So we could wick the lunch low, put the candle body on the midnight open, and then sprint to the top. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I want to get rid of this previous day high level, but it continues to have relevancy. So I don't want to move it if price is just going to trade to it. Yeah, go ahead and take care of business, DJ. We'll catch you on the next one. Oh, okay. All right. So right at 2 o'clock, we ran up into the previous day high and then sell off from there. So since that happened right at 2 o'clock, I will see if that's any indication as to what we should be expecting for the rest of the day. I appreciate the likes. Thanks for the love. Mm. All right, Brad. Let's see if you got something here. So you're short at 860. Okay. All right, Gavin. So Gavin is short and he's thinking 824, 808, 794. Let's see what those levels are. 824. There we are. 808. Okay, I see now what he's looking at. So all these swing lows on the way down through this breaker. Oh, 794. Okay, got it. 794 was the previous high from 2 weeks ago. That's what that was. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go back up to the 5 minute, just so we're not so reactive to price. Lunch low, there it is. All right, now that we push below the lunch low as well as the midnight open, the question is whether we will get a pullback above that range and a close above. Yep. Yeah. Were you able to get in? Khaled, did you get in? Way to go, Vivian. Good job. Yeah, that's the thing about trading. It's like it's day trading is not everyday trading. That's the thing. All right, retest of the midnight open now. Yeah, another 20 seconds and then this candle will close off. So far, it's been rejecting. It did trade above, but it looks like it's being pushed away. So another 15 seconds now. Okay, something went wrong with the URL I just posted. Okay, that didn't work. Back in. Oh, look at the candle body sitting right on top. So we did get a rejection from the last one. It closed right at it. Next one open and started trading above. So this one's also going to be in another minute. We'll see it close out, and we want to see where it closes. Oh, the Anderson, what you wanted to get in here at like 870 somewhere in here and drop it down? Made an entry at 852. Okay. Yes, we did make an all-time high yesterday. I'll show you where that was. So the all-time high yesterday was made here, 875. The previous all-time high was down at 793. So it went up about 80 points right at the opening bell or just after. So 10 o'clock roughly. Yep. And just before lunch today, we made a new all-time high at 892. At around 10:55, we came back at 11:20 and did 894. And then during lunch, we came back and did 896. So it's going up about 2 points each time so far since 11 o'clock. All right, so last candle closed above, just above 860, or right at 860, after taking over the lunch lows at 849. So let's see now what the next candle does. If it breaks below, taking out the low of 841. Yeah, we don't really need this as a lunch low any longer. We do leave the midnight there. The midnight has been very strong today, so we're going to hold that position. So we always know where the midnight open is. All right, so we're right now price action is looking bearish for both 5 and 15, and it's not even really just price action. It's if you look at market structure, it's a bearish market structure because of the break of structure recently. Hourly is still bullish, but the others have subsided a bit and are now showing bearish movement. We get down to the 1 minute and see where the 1 minute stands. Yep, 1 minute definitely bearish. Two. Yeah, pretty much all time frames up just below an hour. Everything below an hour is showing bearish market structure at the moment. Okay. Now we're back at the midnight open. Before we watch to see what happens there, let's just go back here for a moment. Let's take another look just so we understand what's going on with the dollar. As I'm looking at the dollar, is now almost 30 minutes into the hour, and you can see it's back to the opening price. Not really much range. If you look at the range from the previous hour, so far this hour is not doing much at all. And then we see bearish activity from the three indices. Yep, the opening value here, yep, 849. Still got another 5 minutes on that candle, or 4 minutes on the candle. So really this 5 minute candle is going to determine what the 15 looks like. Because we had the first 5 minutes trade up, the second 5 minute trade down, and now this 5 minute candle is going to determine what the 15 looks like. Oh, green at 849. Okay. So far, still having resistance at the midnight level. Buying at 835, right? All right, HDS. Right here. Okay. All right. So we did get that 15-minute closing as a bearish candle. We now have the next one opening up. We'll see if it goes and retests the midnight open once again. But we do have a couple levels close to it, just below, that it may trade to. So we have a swing low, and then we have a consequent encroachment of a wick on the 5-minute. Okay, same. Actually, it's the same spot on the 5 and the 15-minute for this consequent encroachment of the wick. So maybe that is a good level since we see it on both time frames. Okay, one more retest of the midnight open, it looks like. All right, while we wait, let me just throw up the 4-hour, because I know I at best I usually put up the 1-hour chart, and so we never really look at the 4-hour charts. So I just want to give us an opportunity to take a peek and see where it is, just so we can have a more long view of price action, whether we're looking for longs or shorts. So in this case, what we saw was we saw price push to external range, and then we saw it come back to internal range right afterwards, which is what it typically does. Found some support in a fair value gap, as well as a previous day high, pushed out, taken out the external range, sweeping the external range, making a new high, and now we see it pulling back to internal range. So we got this wick that it could trade to 50% or a little more, or it can come back to the fair value gap without becoming bearish. It could still trade back in here before looking towards higher prices. And we still have the Wednesday regular trading hour gap that only closed in about 40% of it. Yesterday it was traded in. The bottom 60% was never traded back to, so it's still open. And that's if we get a break. If we get a break below yesterday's lows, then we can look at Wednesday's regular trading hour gap. Honestly, that might be something for tomorrow or maybe next week. But let's just be aware that it's still there just in case we see continued lower prices. Even as I'm speaking now, prices continuing to trade lower. We're now down to 840. So I'm gonna get back down to the lower time frame. Right, 230 it is. It is 230 now. So it looks like this was our silver bullet. It was either that one or this one. We drop down to a lower time frame. Yep, could be any either of these two. 870, 850. Yeah, he said he should have at least a 20-point target. So that would have made this one here the silver bullet. Because you could have taken an entry at 869 with a TP at 849. All right, here we go. 835. 835. I think somebody was looking for that level. That's HDS. It's now where you wanted it to be. Right on a higher time frame. Consequence encroachment of the wick. It's up next at 831. We're almost there. Made it down to 832 flat. Khalid, care to explain? You mean the silver bullet? Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, Khalid, you're right. Yesterday, we failed to make a new high, and it looks like so far today we've done the same. Lunchtime high is still intact. We attacked the lows first, and so far it's still pushing lower. Khalid, what did you want to explain? Did you want me to talk about not reaching the previous high, or you wanted me to talk about the silver bullet? And that's for anyone else. Price action is pretty slow right now. It's not giving us a lot of entries. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw it in. Throw it in the chat. Okay, Khaled. So the silver bullet is between the hours in the morning. It's between 10 and 11. And in the afternoon, it's between 2 and 3. So this is an ICT concept. If you're not familiar with him, then you may not have heard it. But if you have watched anything ICT, a lot of people are talking about silver bullet. If you search it on YouTube, you'll find hundreds of videos. But it's just a continuation entry model for in the morning from 10 to 11, in the afternoon from 2 to 3. It's usually on the lower time frames between 5 and 1 minute. And what you're looking for is a fair value gap for it to retrace into. And then you look for an opposite direction, low hanging fruit target. So in this case, the entries would have been, you'd have been looking for some type of short entry with a low hanging fruit target of here. Right. It could be equal lows or something if you had that, but we don't really have an equal low. So it will be this low that was sitting here right just before 1 o'clock. You would drop down to, first you can start at the 1 minute. And remember, so it's 2 o'clock, so it's any time after here. And it looks like we had one there and one here. Right, and you look for a Nasdaq, he said look for at least a 20 point TP. And it's not even that you take a 20 point TP. I think he said look for a 20 point range so you can get a TP in there somewhere. So we'd have been looking for something that was at least 20 points away. So if this was our, let's see, in fact, at exactly 2 o'clock, it pulled into this one. But we probably would have been looking at this second one right here. And so the entry would have been at 863. Exit would have been at 849. So there was only 14 points. But if we look further and if we were really looking for the 20 point, then we could have targeted this one here at 835. It would have taken some time to get down there, but it would have made it. And so every morning and every afternoon, some people just look at those 2-hour time frames and they only look for this setup, and that's the only way they trade. Remove that. Okay, that swing low was taken. This was the consequent encroachment of the wick, also taken. The logic behind that is ICT says that it's just between 2 and 3 and between 10 and 11. He was just saying that you'll get a run to a pool of liquidity that always happens, always presents itself from a fair value gap, right? And yeah, it's kind of the opposite. You would say yes, opposite direction of bias on the higher time frame. But if you go to the lower time frame, when we were looking at, let's see, so when by the time we made it to 2 o'clock, right, we had already swept lows at 1. We started building back up. We never swept highs, and this low right here was taken. Actually over here, so this was taken after 2 o'clock. Let me look and see why we would have had a bearish. Okay. All right. So even here on the 5-minute, just looking at market structure. All right. So when we put in this high here, the low that would turn us bearish was here. Okay. Then we continued trading. And then we put in this high, which then would, this low would make us bearish. So right when we had a dip here at 1125, that would have turned us bearish. However, we then took over this high to make us bullish again, which then made this the low. Oh, I'm sorry, not that one. This one made this the low that would make us bearish, which was swept during lunch, right? And this would have been the high. We never swept this low. We just kind of traded in the range here and then started selling off, taking out this low. So we were bearish starting this moment at 1255 on this time frame as far as the way price structure was set up. Now, if you looked at 30 minutes and the hourly, it was still bullish. But on this time frame, it was saying short term, we're still looking for shorts. We thought we were building up and we were going to overtake these highs, which would have turned it back bullish, but we didn't. It then came, broke down, took out this low, took out this low, right? And so that's why. Yeah. It's a short-term view. It's a very short-term view. So it's not like you would expect for price to move in that direction for the whole session or for the whole afternoon. But it's one of those for the next 20 minutes. This is where I think price is going. Yeah, it took me a long, long time to really get this in my brain that I need to follow market structure, even on the lower time frames as it's flipping. And so one of the things I like to do, especially when I talk about the macro, when we get to the final 10 minutes of the hour, and I say, oh, okay, it's macro time, as I go into the lower time frame, 1 to 5 minutes, and I look to see, okay, right now, where's market structure? Are we bullish or bearish? And so I'm looking for a change in market structure. So if we're sitting here moving bearish, this one down to this one, now the price sweep that would turn us back bullish is here. So when we get to the final 10 minutes of the hour, that's why you always hear me saying, okay, I'm looking for this high to be taken. It's because I'm always looking for there to be a change in market structure so I can then see if we're going to turn around and go the other direction. But yeah, market structure on the smaller time frames is, it does flip back and forth a lot. And so I'm looking for everything to be in sync. So I start with the hour and the 30 minute, or sometimes I skip the 30, so an hour and the 15 minute. And then I want to see if the lower time frames also are in line. And if they're not, it's even better, because if they're not in line, then during the macro period, I'm looking for that to switch. So now everything's in line, and then you look for that entry. So for instance, like right now, we know that the higher time frames are all bullish, all bullish. So if I was looking for an entry on in a macro period, I would look and see that this is bearish, and I would say, what would it take to make me bullish? And let's say the swing high that I needed to break was up here. Well, that's going to take a lot of energy to get up there and break that high. So then what I wanted to do is I wanted to do this first, make a new low. So now the swing high that I'm looking for is right here to be broken next. So once it sweeps that low, then I'm saying, okay, now I want it to do this. So it only needs to get right back where it was to now be bullish. Whereas before we needed to get back here because we hadn't made a new low. So those are the kind of things I play around with at the end of the hour, and I'm looking for things to shift and switch around, because far too many times I have been off sides because I'm bullish, and all of a sudden price moves the other way, and I say, what the heck happened? And then I look at the lower time frames, and I can see that 2 minutes before the hour, price did something that switched it, and I wasn't paying attention, and so it just kind of screws me over. I mean, it's still something I'm trying to perfect, but hopefully that gives you at least something to start with when you go through your back testing sessions. The 15 just flipped. Okay. Yep. So let's see. All right. So on the 15, all right. So we were bullish until here. Then we took over this one, which then made it here. So then we shoved it down. Then we're bearish, right? To go bullish, we need to break the lunch high. We just made a new low. So now to go bullish, we need to break 892. So we're still bearish here. We need to break 892 on the 15. If we can't break 892, then what we need now is to see another shift lower. If we get this candle to close and then we see another shift lower, then to break it on the 15, we would only need to get here. And that's when, if you see it after 3 o'clock, if we get up to the midnight open and we have a swing high right here, that's going to shift us back bullish. And then you're going to look for that retest and take off. Mm-hmm. And looks like a lot of people decided not to trade today. People are not interested in today's price action. But I have noticed we get a shift in an influx of new viewers starting around around 3 o'clock. So maybe there's another live trading session that ends at 3, and then people switch over and come to our channel. Nope, not from 3 to 4. It's only from 2 to 3. That's the only hour for the afternoon session, from 2 to 3, and in the morning from 10 to 11. There's also one during Europe session. So I don't know if you trade London, but it's I think it's 3 to 4, 3 to 4 a.m. But yes, if you go into YouTube and you just type in Silver Bullet, you'll find a host of ICT students who have videos on the Silver Bullet. And matter of fact, I think I have one, but I wouldn't recommend it because the audio is pretty bad. It was before I was able to figure out how to get my audio to sound better. Right. So now we're in our macro period. So we have, like we flip bullish on the 1 minute. Flip bullish on the 2 minute. Flip bullish on the 3 minute. Excellent. Good on the 4 minute too, just not on the 5 minute. 5 minute happens at 865. Let's see if we can sweep 865. Yeah, he is. He's been around for like 30 years. Yeah, he's super, super popular. And also he's popular because 2 years ago he started doing online mentorships through YouTube for free, whereas nearly every other trader, most of them his former students, everyone's charging for a mentorship or some type of trading learning system, trading education, whereas he just offers everything for free on YouTube. Now his videos are extremely long and he talks a lot, so you got to fight through that. But I found him, and what really resonated with me was the fact that he tried to explain why the candles are doing what they're doing, as opposed to a lot of the traders I found before. They was just showing me indicators and saying, when you see this cross this and this condition is present, buy. But they really didn't teach you how to manage a trade. They didn't teach you what to do, how to get out, where to get out, where the target should be. None of those things were really taught. It was just always entry models, how to get in, how to get in. And so if it failed, you didn't know why it failed. And if you were in and it was going well, you didn't know if you should get out now or you should hold it. And so it just, I found it difficult to learn how to trade through other means. And then when I found ICT, he explained everything in a way that you could learn how to trade. And so that was what resonated with me. And I'm sure that resonated with a lot of other students. Tommy, not so far. No, I don't think we've missed anything just yet. Yeah, they're long. Gabriel, it's been man, it's been a 2 year journey. First, he had the 2022 mentorship, so that's something you can follow. That's like 20 videos. You can skip the first video and go from 2 until 20. That'll teach you pretty much everything to do on that entry model, which is essentially a sweep of a low, a impulse move, create a fair value gap, trade back in, take it to the highs, either this high or this high. That's the 2022 model. Then if you factor in the fact that if we are able to take over this, we take over this high right here and we flip back bullish, then we have a breaker here. Another one of the concepts he teaches. Right. And if when going through the breaker, it creates another fair value gap inside, then that's what ICT considers his unicorn model, which has an even higher probability of succeeding. And I like this one right here because we're sitting right at the midnight open too, so you get all that confluence right together. But before 310, we need to get above 861 and close. Yeah, cool, calm, collected. That was last hour. So that, well, actually this hour, but it's finishing up. So it's between 2 and 3. Um, so yeah, we're running out of time for the silver bullet. In fact, I think it was the sell from up in this area. So we'll have to do that in a future session. But yes, in the morning, so between 10 and 11, and in the afternoon from 2 to 3. I'll try to call those out if I see them. Usually I see them too late because I'm not really looking for that setup. Um, but I'll try to do a better job with that. Yep, you're right, Gavin. Mm, roughly 8:45. Yep, 8:45 flat. Let me just go down to the lower time frame. It'll be a little easier here. Nice. Looks like we got a nice little upside down head and shoulders. No, ICT would kill me if he heard me say head and shoulders. See if this breaker activates itself. Remember I told you about having a fair value gap inside? ICT calls that the unicorn. Let's see what this setup would look like. About a 15-point stop loss. You'd then be asking for a 30-point TP for a 1 to 2 trade. Yep. And that takes you up to 891. 891 is just below the lunch high. You know what? Let me go ahead and put a limit order in on this one. Even though the very first second of this candle tap back into the breaker, hit the fair value. Look at that. Look at that. Son of a gun. Just ran up right there. You know what? One to two on this. It's even less, much less on that fair value gap. All right, let's see if we can't get something good from here. This will be our last attempt for the day. I don't want to lose this trade. I'll go break even already. Yep, absolutely, Frank. Yep, sure can. Take this one right here, Frank. It's called FVG Nephew Sam. I'll show it to you right here. No, because what happened was, right, it's on all time frames. So you got to figure out, okay, which time frame do I want fair value gaps to be on? So that's why I use the indicator, just because you draw it and then you delete it. You draw another one, it violates, you delete it, and you keep doing that. So it's easier to have an indicator. Plus, with this indicator, when I move to a new time frame, it only shows me the fair value gaps for that time frame. And so I just keep bouncing back and forth, and I can say, oh, is this a fair value gap on the 5 minute? I click the 5 minute chart, and then it'll print all of them for me. Go back to the 1 minute, it print all the 1 minutes. So it just makes it easier for me. Might get a little dangerous here because between 3 and 4, I noticed that they don't like tight stop losses. So usually the retracements are a little bit larger and it'll sweep anybody with a tight stop loss. But like I said, my week hasn't been the greatest, so I'm not willing to take a loss here. So I'm okay if it pushes me out. Points, so that's $10. Yeah, it's fine. There we go. I'll take 25 points from $25 for my trouble. See if we can't take out that high there. We still got the previous day high, which could hold price up and not let us get to any type of highs this afternoon. Any type of new highs, I mean. Right now, looks like my TP is at 891, which is 5 points lower than the lunchtime high. I'll be back. Let me just refill my water for the last 45 minutes, 50 minutes of today's session. I'll be right back. Don't anyone go anywhere. Getting some retracement here. Said the 150 candle. Oh, okay. I see. Yep. It's a big one. All right. You guys can do me a favor and hit the like button. Appreciate that so much. They'll get some more traders in our room for the final 45 minutes. All right, so we got an expansion here. Well, expansion, consolidation, expansion. Now it's consolidating again. Let's see if we can get an expansion push out without it retracing and taking me out of the trade. That would suck. Right. But I do want to recognize the fact that on the 15-minute, we do not have bullish price action right now. So the 15-minute still has another target it needs to hit before it flips bullish. So if we do get pressed down or we don't make it to our target or somewhere, it's one of the higher time frames hadn't converted over yet. So we have everything from the 1 to the 5 bullish. We have everything from the hour and above bullish. It's just that 15-minute that's not. So there is a risk there. And I'd probably be a lot safer if I left my stop where it was, but we already talked about that. Yeah, that's true. Hope it's not too late. Okay. Yeah, it's true. Yep, and it hasn't retraced back into it yet either. So that's very possible that it could do that. Take me out of the trade. Not necessarily. I mean, I have a few in my under my name, but for the most part, I don't. I need to start making them. So if you can do me a favor and jump into the Discord, it's probably good if you just send me a message and tell me some of the subjects you want to see, and then I can think about how to construct some of those videos. I have a list of some I want to make now, but it would probably be better if I made the ones that people wanted to see. Okay, got it. But you say training videos, is that you mean just like full trading or you mean just like one specific skill that you're looking for? Because I don't think that like NAS or S&P 500, those aren't, I don't think they're really different. They move a little slightly differently and they have different values per point. But outside of that, it's all still price action. So I don't know if it's necessarily you need a video per trading pair or per equity market. Yep, just had a new 15-minute candle open. Yeah, it's fair value gap just above us. This 1 minute fair value gap is proving quite difficult to push through for now. It's been about 10 minutes or so, man. Actually 15. Price has just been pushing along the bottom half of it mostly, bottom quarter. Really hasn't made a real breakthrough. And we do have the previous day high within that range. Yep, consolidating, you're right. At least on this lower time frame, it's for sure consolidating. A little too close to comfort right for now. I hate it when it opens low like that. Oh, the light blue box. Yeah, that's on me. That's the breaker. I'm doing that myself. So the breaker block, yeah, you're gonna have to manually do that yourself. I think they may have some indicators for that as well. I just don't have one. So maybe you look on TradingView, go and search for ICT breaker and see if someone has already created one that you can use, or if anyone else in the room is using a breaker block indicator. Can you let Frank know? Uh-oh, swept lows. Sorry, if you come back down here, I'm gonna get an extra quarter of a point. Oh yeah, break even, Brad. Okay, sorry. Man, 20 straight minutes of this. It's a nice high to place. Let's hope it doesn't come back and then sweep lows as well. Let's see if it'll keep going. All right, so this is a situation where I like to draw a new. Hopefully it leaves a fair value gap, but I want to draw a new fair value gap here. Well, not a new fair value gap, a new long tool coinciding with the fair value gap, assuming I was entering a trade here. Fair value gap can protect us. And also, it's like if you were entering here on a fair value gap, right? You would be exiting right here because that would invalidate your trade at this swing low. So you would do the same thing and say, all right, if you hit the swing low, take me out. Even though I entered a little higher, this allows me to move my stop and also get out of it whenever a trade is invalidated. And likewise, you can push your TP the same way. If you find a fair value gap up here and the TP is 10 points higher, you can stretch your TP along there that way as well. Uh, Not offhand, Frank, but what you can do is you can search for the unicorn model. That's kind of an all-encompassing, and that's the one that I like to use the most, and that's the one that seems to be the um, most consistent. So search for the unicorn model and see what videos pop up. Some of the traders I like to follow and ones that make pretty easy to follow videos is T Trades. So it's the letter T and then trades. He most likely has a unicorn model video you can watch. There you go, Frank. Try that one. Oh, Ethan ICT. I don't think I've ever seen anything from him. All right, big retracement coming. So we'll see if we can survive this retracement, or this is the end of the road for this trade idea. And it's been a spotty day so far, so we'll see. Right, here's the fair value gap for anybody who was looking for a late entry. There was a late entry right there. $36 likes. I know we can do better than that. Sweet. I like that. Good push. Keep pushing. All right. So anyone who got in here, a 1 to 2 trade has already delivered. It was a 4.5 point stop loss, 9 point TP already done. All right. Let's see if we can get this fair value gap to hold, because if we can, now we extend this one. Got another 30 seconds. So now we have to wait and see if it holds. But if it does hold, then we get to move our stop loss. The TP is still higher than what this TP is. So I'll leave the TP where it is, but I will shift my stop loss up. Okay, I can't do it now. There's no fair value gap. Darn it. All right, let's look for one on another time frame then. Okay, this is not good. Nothing. Not a single fair value gap on another time frame. Okay. All right, so now I'm just gonna be willing to take roughly $100 if he comes all the way back. But this is very typical of what happens at 3 o'clock or between 3 and 4. You get deep retracements, and any tight stop loss gets ripped to shreds. There's the $100 stop loss right there. In fact, I may not even let it get that far. If I see it breaking down below where it's at now, I might just close it. We are getting close to well, it's 3:30 now, so we got another half hour. See where it can go. Previous day high right now is holding up price. We need to see if it can break through that. All right, it could not. Close right on it. All right, I'm in my trade there. Take the $200. Been a rough day. Definitely been a rough day. Well, not today. I'm sorry. It's been a rough week. Been a rough week. And so I'll take the 200. Yep. And it's because of the previous day high. We came up here and had equal highs before, and it just pushed us down. We couldn't get over it. I'm not saying we won't be able to get over it now, because look at how much trading has happened in this area, whereas before it made one attempt and then it just fell. So it's in all likelihood it'll push through now, but after this week I couldn't risk it. Yeah, but even on the 15-minute, you look at the candles are getting smaller and looking less bullish. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. If you think we're going down before close, when you say close, what do you mean by close? You mean we're going down before the end of today, or what do you mean? There you go. 40 cups of Starbucks for $200. Oh, in the day. Okay. So yeah. So if you think we're going to sell, like if you think that this previous day high is as good as it's going to be for us, then what you want to do is you want to just go through the lower time frames, and you want to be looking for a fair value gap. All of them look like they came from here, which was at 150, 148. So you just want to take a short anywhere in here. The best position is most likely in the center, but you can't always get that. So you're going to want to take it at the 50%. But again, sometimes it trades right up to it, get to right to the edge, and then starts to fall. So you have to weigh those options in, whether you want to wait and see if it goes deep into the fair value gap. But that's what I would do. And what you want to do also, you want to look at a price leg. So you have a price leg here all the way down. And if you're looking for a short, you want something above 50%. So something up anywhere in this range. So this fair value gap here would be a great place to short if you thought this was as high as price was going to be. Right. And what a lot of people do is what they call a turtle soup, which is you look for a key level that it reaches, and as soon as it trades above, you look for it to start to reject and go the other way. So in this case, the previous day high, we saw plenty of times today this has been a place of confluence. We also saw most recently a trade up, touch it, then and then fall off just before 2 o'clock. So here we are coming back again. You saw it trade above, but it couldn't hold it. It rejected and traded below and closed below. So in that case, after you see it also trade above a key level and reject out, you have a bit more comfort and confidence in the fair value gap that you're looking at. So Frank, in this case, if you were bearish, you definitely have this trading in a premium, so it's above 50%. You have it trading above a recent key level, previous day high. You see the rejection from it. So there's a lot of things there if you were looking for a short. No, not necessarily. No. What you would have most likely, if that was your position and you was really looking for that, you would have been looking at getting in over here, and you would have had to decide whether you wanted to wait for this high to be taken. If you wanted to wait for that high to be taken, then as soon as this candle went above, traded back down, and closed right here, you'd have just entered right here, which would have been at 870. Yeah, so this would have been your entry, Frank. You'd have been looking like this. Put your stop above this wick over here, and then whatever ratio you like. I'm always a 1 to 2 trader, but you would go with whatever you like. And in this case, you TP out right at another key level, which is the midnight open. Yeah, what do you got, Fauci? You got anything for me? Anything that you wanted to ask? See if we get one of these to end our day. We'll sit there. Yeah, I wanted to win too, man. It's just I'm still asking it to get back to all-time highs to get that. So it seems like Price didn't want to do that today. We'll see what he wants to do tomorrow. We'll also tomorrow see if ES is able to finally get to its all-time high. It's been right around that level and just never really able to get up there. Let's see what's going on. Oh, all right. CES has made a new high for the day this hour. So let's see what's the highest it made it. It made it to 50.18, so 10 points away from all-time high for ES. So it could happen overnight, like Asia London session, or we could have a retracement and then bullish movement tomorrow takes us there. Yes, that's true. Technically, it is a win. I think anything over like 10, 15 points, once you get there, it was a winning trade. It's just where did you close out? All right, Frank, look at that. Look at you knowing where price was going. But they all say, that's what they all say. Yeah. Even if we took a smaller one, Frank, because it created another fair value gap right here on the way out. If you put your short two there. So 7-point stop loss, you'll be looking to take 14. So at 8:55 would have been your exit. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's see what happens. There's your poll. Oh, let's see. You knew I'm trying to be more conservative, so I assume this would have been a better choice. Yeah. No, either or, Frank. This one's a little bit later in the game. So you don't always get this where it moves out and it immediately gives you a fair value gap right there. So you may have missed out and the next opportunity may have been down here. Um, so that's why if you are choosing a turtle soup, like when you see this rejection here, like that's all you needed to see. That's what you wanted. Now you can decide if the 3 minute is high enough or if you want to go to the 5 minute and look and see if that candle also rejected. So you can decide if you want to wait for a higher time frame. But once you see the rejection and you see the candle close, yeah, you go ahead and you take your trade. This one is, yeah, you're right. It is more conservative because you waited for it to move out of the zone, close out of the zone, and create another fair value gap. So yes, it would have been more conservative and it would have gave you a smaller stop loss. But again, like I said, you don't always get that. So sometimes price moves away and you feel like you didn't get an entry when you wanted one. So that's usually what you're balancing. All right, looks like people are probably getting the price is tipping his hand, so it's probably skewing our poll here. But let's see. So far, we're at 50-50. I tried to put midnight open or below, but it was too many characters. You can only put in, I think, 30 characters or so. Yeah, but a lot of times at 350, you will get an influx of energy into price, and you'll see it start to move. I'll switch down to the lower time frame when we get there. Same as any other macro, I'm always looking for some type of market structure shift on the lower time frame. Right now, we can see we had this big run up on the 5-minute, and we're now trading right around the 50% mark of that range. So it's can go either direction right now. Oh, but Frank, here you go. Look, you had a delivery. It's happened. So if you had taken that lower fair value gap, the one that was created right here at 869, it delivered the 14 points already. All right, we'll have to sit down to 825. Okay. Oh, sweeping these lows. Wow. Okay, we just had a bounce off the 50% of the breaker block here. Let's see if that does anything to push price bullish once again. All right, one more minute to vote. One more minute to vote. Gotten 12 votes so far. Uh-oh. All right, let's go ahead and just get down to the 1 minute. Yep, got 1 minute left before the macro starts. And remember what I was telling you about the macro. When you're looking for it to shift price, a lot of times you get it to create a new fake extreme on the other side, so it's closer to break. So if it wants to go higher and shift back bullish, here we make a new high, go down, let's crack these lows here, and then come right back up and take the high. And then the 1 minute will be bullish again. So what I'm usually looking for is I'm waiting. I don't want price to do anything just yet. I want it to stall for 20 more seconds. And as soon as the next candle starts, I want to see the low swept. I did it early. All right. With that happening, that doesn't lend well for bullish activity. All right. Let's stop our poll now. Oh, 18 votes. Sweet. All right. So we had a new low pressed in, which then made this the confluencing high. Now we're going to push past that high, turn us bullish again. Let's see what the next candle brings. If the next candle brings you a fair value gap, then you're going to see price push higher, and that fair value gap most likely will remain open. But this bearish fair value gap that Frank identified delivered what he would have wanted if he was a 1 to 2 trader risk reward. All right, let's see if this fair value gap stays open. for the duration of this candle. If it does, then I don't believe it's going to be traded back into. Uh, that hold, that's not good. All right, well, we got an immediate rebalance. So let's see if that also continues to push price. This can do it as well. We do not want to see it move lower than that. Like back into the breakers, that's not something that we want to see. Okay. Looking good for bulls so far. You're out. All right, Fauci. Look at these other time frames and see if there's anything to see there. That's a 3 minute. Let's get back down. 2 into the 1. Yep. I just didn't like that it took the low the minute before, or a few seconds actually before. I was hoping that it would wait until 350 to take that low. That's the only thing that has me a little on edge about this setup. All right, so 10 people called it lower, 8 people called it higher. Yeah, it's not great for the bulls right now. All right, so my fear just came true. So when it hit that low before the macro, then during the macro it flipped back bullish, only to then fake out people and run bearish. Wonder why I didn't create a fair value gap. That would have been super easy to create and just leave alone and just run south. A bearish fair value gap for one tick, it looks like. Right here at 61 and a quarter. Could barely even see that. Mm-hmm. Voucher, you're right about that. Yep. It's you know, kind of is what it is. Today has been one of those days. But I do want to commend you all for sticking with me and staying in here and watching price basically frustrate us for a second day in a row. But still, like I said, sticking with me and being here. So thank you all for that. Thank you for your participation in the chat. Um, we didn't kill it with attendance today, but I think that was more of a function of the market where a lot of people just stayed away and decided they'll come back tomorrow or they'll just wait for next week. Hmm. Okay, that little tiny fair value gap is gone. Oh, no problem, Frank. Thanks for being here. I know it's not easy when you're still a beginner or you feel like others in the room have more experience than you, so you may not feel like asking a question or stepping up. But I appreciate you letting me know what you don't know. That's really the only way we can learn, and it's reassuring and reinforcing for me also to explain it to you. So it's not a big deal for me to do it. It just helps me with my learning and my understanding as well. So thanks for your questions, and again, thanks for your participation. I want to thank all of you for supporting our channel and coming to trade with us every day. On your way out, make sure you hit the like button. We need to get as many as we can get. So make sure you hit the like button on your way out. New people, everyone who's new, just joined us today or sometime this week. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. We want to make sure that you don't miss out on any invitations going forward. So hit the subscribe button and yep, and hit the like button on your way out. And like I say, guys, this has been a great session. And I want to thank you for being here with me again. Yep. So with that, we'll say farewell until tomorrow morning, 9:15. We'll do it all over again. Hopefully you can make it. If not, I'll see you on the next one that you can. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.